Hello, explorers, and welcome to Reach the World's Explorer program. For more than 25 years, Reach the World has sparked student curiosity, bringing real-world adventure, fresh perspectives, and career pathways into K-12 classrooms through virtual exchange. My name is Tim, and today we're coming to the end of the road on one of the most exciting Explorer program virtual exchanges we've had all year long. Explorer Colin Heinrich from Indagare has taken us into the mountains of northern India in search of snow leopards, which he found. And today we're joining him to hear about the second half of his expedition, in which he traveled to central India in search of another big cat, which is, of course, tigers. We'll find out shortly if Colin spotted any tigers, and then we'll reflect on this exciting journey as a whole before Colin answers all your final questions about conservation, India, responsible travel, whatever else we want to talk to Colin about today. As a quick plug for our educators, Reach the World just announced our spring expedition. So after we're done here today, if you're looking for your next classroom adventure, you can use the link in the YouTube chat to see our full lineup of virtual exchange expeditions that will take us to the end of the current academic year. We're going to the Everglades, Hungary, and deep beneath the Indian Ocean in the coming months. So I hope you'll join us for another program. And finally, before I welcome Colin back to the screen, let me give a shout out to his amazing virtual exchange homepage, especially his beautifully written farewell reflections. If you haven't already read those articles, I've added that link to the chat as well. You won't want to miss it. Save it for after the live stream again. After we hear from Colin today, I'm going to turn it over to you for your questions, which you'll be able to ask directly to Colin. So please be thinking about what questions you have for Colin as we get underway, and we'll get to as many questions, as always, as we can today. And with that, it's time to immerse ourselves back in the world of India's snow leopards and tigers, and welcome veteran Reach the World explorer Colin Heinrich back to Reach the World. Where are you, Colin? There he is. Hey,
Hello.
Colin.
How's it going? Good to be back.
It is going great. It's nice to see you. There's a lot of waving hands in the backstage area. A lot of kids who have been following this journey, excited to reconnect with you today, as am I. It's been a little while since we talked to you, and I think, is there
I've
a
got
big
my own
cat?
little leopard here.
All right. Well, we'll have to meet him or her at some point, because we've been talking so much about cats, big cats specifically. And who can forget our last time we connected with you from India, where you were showing us what you had spotted in terms of snow leopards. That was amazing. You had a whole second half to your expedition, and I want to sort of turn it over to you. I have some pictures to share, and you can sort of walk us through what you've been up to since we last spoke with you.
Yeah. So I'm luckily home now. It took a long time to get over the jet lag, but after seeing the snow leopards, I went to a place called Madhya Pradesh, which is in central India. So rather than being far in the north, where I was cold and surrounded by mountains. This time I was in the jungle. If anybody in the audience has read The Jungle Book or even seen the movie The Jungle Book, this is the area that Rudyard Kipling wrote that book about. It's called Kanha National Park, and it is just an absolute stunner of a landscape. But it's dark and mysterious and misty and beautiful. And if you just get lucky enough, like I did, you might just see a tiger there.
Excellent. So I'm going to sort of step us through some of these photos that you shared, and maybe you can just tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah. So right now you're seeing me on a safari vehicle. And safari vehicle is maybe a little bit of a misnomer. When people think of safari, they think Africa and they think driving around, seeing elephants and tigers, or elephants and lions and all sorts of things. When you're on a tracking experience in the national park here, it is a difficult thing. You're driving around listening for, they're called alarm calls. Basically, the prey of the tiger will be eating and existing, and if they see a tiger, they will make a sharp barking sound that you can hear from miles away, basically telling everybody in the area, there's a tiger here, watch out. And luckily, that includes us. So if we hear an alarm call, rather than running away like most of the animals, we're going to go try to find where that alarm call is taking place. And so even if you're not able to get that close to the tiger immediately, you can kind of tell where it is and position yourself in a way that you might be able to find it when it comes out of the bushes. This is more of Kana National Park. It's just a beautiful spot. These are the deer that we were talking about. This is a dangerous time for them. Sunset and sunrise is when tigers are most active. You might have heard of nocturnal animals. Humans are considered diurnal. We're awake during the day. Tigers are considered crepuscular, which means that they're awake at dawn and dusk. They sleep during the day and they sleep at night. But when the sun is low in the sky, that's when they start to explore and try to find things to eat. So all of these deer are eating and you know, they don't look too alarmed, but they're definitely on edge because they know that something could be watching them. This is more just beautiful landscape. Like I said, it's a very misty, cool, beautiful area. The light shimmering through the trees just makes the whole thing feel like a storybook. More of the Kana landscape. I was there during the rainy season, so we didn't get much rain, which was great. But there are big ponds of water that you have to watch out for. And luckily, this is a good way to find tigers because they like to gather around the water as well because they know that their prey needs water too. So this is actually, if you've seen the Jungle Book, you might remember when King Louie, the orangutan, finds Mowgli. He is sitting in a big temple that's buried in the jungle. That's a real place. So this is Bandhavgarh National Park in India. This is a different place from Kana. But the interesting thing about Bandhavgarh is that there was an ancient civilization that used to live here. And they built their forts and their temples directly into the side of the mountain. So all of this that you're seeing right here was carved directly into the sandstone by people hundreds of years ago. It's a statue of a Hindu god who's reclining there. But it's an interesting place because you actually can't stay there long because there still might be tigers there. You have to walk up to it and just take a quick look, and then you have to leave. More landscape. And there you go. There's the tiger. So we got really lucky there. You'll see that there's some deer in the background. We were driving around for maybe 30 minutes or so, and it was sunrise, and you could just hear these barking deer screaming in the distance. And we had to put our pedal to the metal and go careening around the roads and finally get to a point where we could see the deer were looking into the bushes. And we were super quiet and just hoping that we'd get lucky. And then all of a sudden, this tiger just walked right out of the bushes. And I think it must not have been hungry because it didn't pay attention to the deer at all, but the deer were certainly paying attention to it. And there's some little owls. So there's obviously not just tigers in these bushes. It is a big national park with a lot of wildlife, and one of the biggest things that you'll see are birds. So even if you're having trouble finding a tiger, anywhere you look, you're going to see anywhere between any of 350 different species of birds, from owls to eagles to flamingos to peacocks. Tons of different wildlife there. There's another picture of the tiger that we saw just walking around.
Colin, can you give us a sense of how rare or unlikely it was that you were going to see a tiger? Like, did you expect to see a tiger while you were here, or was this just like an absolute sort of one in a thousand, one in a million chance that you'd actually encounter one?
So I was really lucky. I was there for long enough that I knew I'd see a tiger eventually, but not everybody gets to. So tigers are really endangered. There's not a ton of them left. But what India has done is they've created these tiger reserves. So there's a ton of them dotted around the country. And what they are they're kind of like national parks, the way that we have them here in the US, where there's a central area that's just set aside exclusively for tigers. And then surrounding that core area, there's a buffer zone, and that's where most people can live. So they might be relatively close to the tigers, but there's so much forest that you're just never guaranteed to see them. These national park areas, these tiger reserves, can be anywhere between 600 and 1,500 square kilometers. I can't immediately do the math on what that is in miles, but I think it's around 1,000 square miles. And in that 1,000 square miles, there's anywhere between 50 and 150 tigers. Tigers have a huge territory, so they'll go around spraying pee on trees. They'll be scratching trees. They'll be doing whatever they can to claim some territory. And so if a tiger goes into that territory and sees those markings, it'll leave because it doesn't want to get into a fight with whatever tiger already lives there. So what that means is that in any given area, there's only one tiger. Maybe there's a couple of female tigers too, but only one big male. So if you're driving around looking, you're trying to find a needle in a haystack, really. And Bandhavgarh actually is interesting because, like I said, it's a big mountain area. There's a temple that's carved into that mountain. But if you get to the top of it, you can look around and see for miles in any direction, just deep, deep forest. And what you'll realize is that in all of that forest, you're looking for one tiger. So it's never guaranteed. The trackers are really good. They can hear those alarm calls from miles away. They can find little tracks in the dirt that the tigers might have left and use that to follow where they think they're going to be. But it is hard. I was there for a week looking for tigers, and I only saw this one.
Are the tigers so well known by the people who live there and work there and sort of help people experience them that they're named, or they're like known that we're looking for, X tiger that tends to live in this area?
Yeah, so some of the tigers have names, but most of them are known by their numbers. Because the conservation work in India is so scientifically driven and very well done, actually. They keep track of every single tiger in the area and who its parents are, who its kids are, what their exact territory is. So as we're driving around and we're listening to alarm calls, even if we don't see a tiger, the guides might say, "Oh, we know exactly what tiger those deer are seeing over there. It's this tiger. Here's its history. Here's its kids. Actually, this tiger does have two cubs, but they're getting big enough that they might not be there anymore." And if you do see a tiger, it's a little bit difficult, but if you get close enough, the guides can actually recognize the tiger by its stripes. So every tiger has unique stripes that are similar to a human fingerprint. So if you see a tiger and you can recognize its stripes, you know exactly which tiger that is. So what you're looking at here is a picture of a ranger going on an elephant. So because poaching is an issue still, and because there are a lot of people that will go hunting in the national parks, which is not allowed, but they need to feed their families. So they'll be trying to shoot deer, for example. These rangers, they're called mahouts over there, will be riding these elephants all through the national park, basically just going places that you can't go in a regular vehicle. And they'll be looking for snares that they need to remove. They'll be looking for injured animals that they need to help. And they're basically just a constant presence trying to keep the wildlife safe in the park area.
I find it really touching that, it's from what you've said, it sounds like the people who administer and protect these wildlife preserves think of these tigers as family. The way you described it, you're talking about them talking about tigers like we talk about our favorite dog or our cat or our animal. It's really a beautiful thing to know that the people are so invested in these beautiful animals.
Yeah, when you think about it, the tiger reserves are a relatively new conservation project. Before that, they were parks, but they might have just been open area. And the people that live around these parks have been there for generations. And so the people that are employed by the parks now as mahouts, as trackers, as guides, they're all people that have lived in this area their entire lives. So they recognize these tigers, they've been growing up in the same area. They've grown together. Like I said, these tigers keep the same territory. They defend it. So they know the exact tigers that are in their area. Sometimes they have a bit of a fraught relationship as well. There are tigers that kill livestock, so the cows and the goats and the sheep that live in the area as well. But India has done a really good job of putting together conservation supplementation programs. So if somebody has a cow killed by a tiger, the government of India will send somebody out to actually compensate and pay that person for the animal that was killed. And because of that, they know that they're okay if a tiger hurts something of theirs. Um, and it helps them to just not have animosity towards the tigers. So it's just helping people to live in harmony. And it's called human wildlife conflict reduction. And it's an important part of conservation all over the world.
It sounds, for those of our students online who joined our last live stream, it sounds similar to what's happening with snow leopards in a very different part of India. And I'm sure we'll have some questions about that. We have a couple more pictures I want to get through, and then we'll turn it over to our classrooms who are eager to ask you questions today. So let's keep going.
Yeah. So, like I said, tigers claim their territory. This one may look like it's just sunning itself and enjoying the day, but what it's really doing is rubbing its head against the tree and trying to get its scent all over it. So, like I said, if another tiger comes in this area, it can sniff this tree and know that there's this tiger that lives there, and it doesn't want that smoke, so it's gonna go somewhere else.
As I'm advancing to the next picture, Colin, can you tell us, you saw this one tiger? All the pictures of the tiger we're seeing are the same tiger, right?
hmm
How long did you follow this tiger? Once you had found a tiger, the thing you were looking for, what is it like to, I mean, how long did you follow this tiger, and what did you see it do?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's a very dense forest. This tiger walked out of the bushes, walked across a plain, walked into the next bushes, the next clearing over. So we were following this tiger for 5 minutes tops. It was a very, very short portion of my trip. I wish that I had a little more time with it, but unfortunately, these things are just so elusive that that's what gets people going. It's a very exciting thing to see the tiger, and it's exciting to try to track it. And it's a big payoff when you do see it, but unfortunately, it's just not often that you do. So this is one of those safari vehicles driving through the forest. This is what it looks like. You can tell how difficult it would be. Those trees and those bushes are, 6 feet tall. The tigers are not that tall when they're walking. So you have to get really lucky to see one when it goes out into a place that you can actually see one in person. So these are some cute little birds. These are called hoopos. They look so different from any bird that we have here in the US. It's got this big, beautiful frill on the back. It's got this big, long beak that it uses to search for bugs in the grass. And something funny that it likes to do is dust baths. So what you'll see are these birds sitting in the road, and what they're doing is just flapping their wings and rolling around like dogs in the dust. And what that does is it helps to separate their feathers, and it helps to eventually make parasites and bugs fall out of their feathers. So it cleans them too. So it's a dust bath, but it's very funny to watch, and they're very cute birds.
I really like, we've obviously framed this whole adventure in terms of seeking snow leopards and looking for tigers too. And it's really fun to hear how other animals can surprise and delight you, things that you may not have known that you were going looking for in different environments like this. Do you have any other sort of animals either in the high mountains or in the central India that surprised you in the same way these birds did?
So I'm a birder, which is a hobby that I think some of you kids will start to get into when you're older. It hits pretty suddenly. But India has just hundreds and hundreds of species of birds. And because it's on an entirely different hemisphere, they're all so different than any of the birds that we have here. So rather than seeing, pigeons and blue jays and cardinals, I was seeing hoopos and peacocks and fire flame back woodpeckers, things like that. Things that I've just never seen before. So we were stopped, even though it was so difficult to see a tiger, we were still stopping every couple of minutes just because I wanted to take a picture of the next new interesting bird that we were seeing. Back to the tiger.
Excellent. Yeah, I just want to pause here for a second. Your photos, first of all, are really beautiful. You're a great photographer, but it's so novel for many of us, I think, who have only seen tigers in zoos, maybe, to see a tiger in its natural habitat. Does it feel different when you're near a tiger that you know is not in a zoo cage versus in its natural habitat like this?
It does. And like I said, it's so difficult to find them in the first place. And it's so easy to almost think that you're just never going to see one because it's so difficult. And then all of a sudden one appears and it's just such a deeply emotional, compelling feeling of, wow, this is a real animal. This is a real place. And it connects you to the idea that suddenly this is something that we really need to focus on protecting because it is so special to find it in its home.
Absolutely. We've got one more picture here for all our classrooms that are backstage or any of our classrooms that are following on YouTube. Be ready with your questions. We'll come to you next.
Yeah, so this I just loved this picture because it says everything about what this place was like. The sunlight dappling through the woods, the deer crossing the street, the deep forest. This was Madhya Pradesh as I felt it, a storybook location that just held so much mystery in the darkness of it.
Excellent. It does look very magical. I like ending with this photo because it feels like it's sort of a magical world. Well, fabulous. That is sort of Colin's field update. And like he said, he is back in the United States now, but is willing to answer any questions that our students have about anything he just talked about or any of the bigger themes that we've had on this virtual exchange. So I see, let's see here, who do I see backstage? I see our Green Street friends are ready to go. So if you are a classroom that's backstage that would like to ask Colin a question, please turn your cameras on and we'll get you in order. So I'm going to bring 4J on so we can say hello to them. Good morning, 4J. It's great to see you.
Good morning.
If we have a couple questions for Colin, I'll turn it over to you. Please go ahead.
What was your favorite part of your trip?
My favorite part of the trip was seeing the snow leopards, I have to say. Seeing a tiger was really special, but they are a little bit more common. Snow leopards are called the ghost cat for a reason because they are just so rare. And if you were on the call that I did a couple of weeks ago, you would have seen the picture of the mother and the two cubs that were on the very top of a mountain. And like I said, seeing those things in their home is just such a special feeling that really drives home the idea that these are things we need to protect. So that was a very emotional, special moment for me.
Thank you. Okay, Eric. Do you know about the snow leopard attack the woman in China who tried to take a selfie?
I have not heard that story.
I think it just happened last weekend.
There is a very important policy that people should be following when they're in nature, and this is not our home, it's theirs. They were there first. It's a place that they're very used to. It's a place that we are the intruders for. And so because of that, we are the ones who need to be taking precautions to make sure that we're being safe. And that means following all of the park rules. That means paying attention. That means just respecting the animals. In the national parks in India, there's actually a rule that cell phones are not allowed. And part of that is because they were having a big issue with people taking selfies and not paying attention. And people would get out of the safari vehicles in order to take as close of a selfie to the animal as they could. And that's just dangerous and stupid. And we need to respect the animals and understand that no matter what, they are dangerous. And wanting to keep them safe doesn't mean that they are safe.
Thank you.
Should we do one more?
Yeah, one more is great.
Go ahead.
What led you to working with Reach the World?
Yeah, so uh, I have been lucky. I have been extraordinarily lucky to have the life that I do. I get to travel. I get to see things that so many people don't. And it's understanding that point that a lot of people aren't as lucky as I am. It makes me want to give back and share what I have and share my perspective and hopefully help kids get inspired to want to travel when they're older as well. Um, I think starting young and learning and having that drive and passion is a really important way to set yourself up for success in life. And so talking to kids like you is really fulfilling to me.
Thank you.
Of course.
Great questions. Do we have one more, or should we bring up another class and come back to you?
We can ask another one.
Okay, yeah, let's do it as long as you're here.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. Here, Garnet.
When you took the pictures of the snow leopards, how far away were you?
The tigers.
Oh, the tigers. How far away were you from them?
So I got really lucky with the tiger sighting. I was probably with the snow leopards, you might remember, I was as much as 2 kilometers away. So we had to look through these super, super powerful scopes to see them. With the tiger, it walked within about 20 feet of me. And I was able to see it so close that I could track its stripes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
20 feet. Whoa, that is quite a difference between how far away you were from the snow leopards. Amazing. We'll come back to you, Green Street friends. Thank you for those
I
great
might be
questions.
exaggerating that a little bit, but it felt that close.
How exciting. I feel like another common theme of our conversations with you, Colin, are that you get lucky a lot. You're just like a lucky person, I think. Maybe animals
think
like
so.
you. I think that's probably it. Animals know that you're a friend. Miss Hockenjoe's class, I see you backstage. Hello. Great to see you today. I know we've got a couple students in your room who would love to speak with Colin. So if you are ready to go, please go ahead.
Hopefully it's going to work. We're glitching now, which is why I turned the camera off. Go ahead, Jason.
So I've heard about the dolls and how they sometimes scare off tigers. So did you see any dolls on your trip?
You're talking about the dogs? The
Yeah,
wild dogs in India? I did not see any,
dogs like the
unfortunately.
dogs.
I'm just going to mute your microphone real quick, Ms. Hockenjoes, while Colin answers that question so that we don't get the feedback of the audio. So, Colin, do you have anything else to add for that question, or are you good?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't get to see any of the dogs. You might hear a concept called the Big Five when you're talking about wildlife areas, and in Africa, it's lions, leopards, elephants, water buffalo, and rhino. India has a different Big Five. India has tigers, leopards, elephants, sloth bears, and then gars, which are basically an Indian bison. Then, of course, there's other things like dolls, like the dogs that you were talking about. But because it's so dense, it's just so much harder to see a lot of wildlife, certainly big wildlife. In Africa, I've seen all of the Big Five. In India, the only of the Big Five that I got to see were the tiger and the gar. I saw one Indian bison, but unfortunately, I didn't get to see any dole, but it was still a really incredible time because I got to see so many birds and I got to feel the emotion of being in such a deep, dense forest. So I wasn't too upset.
All right, I'll unmute you, Ms. Hagenjos, and then you can ask your next question. Let's see here. You may have to do it yourself, Rhea. There we go.
Does like seeing all these big cats, does that have any sentimental value to you, or does it not?
Yeah, it's a deeply sentimental value to me. I have, and Tim, would you mind muting them real quick? Yeah, so it's a deeply sentimental value. I think that seeing these wild animals in their natural habitat is so important. And that's not to say that zoos aren't important either. I think that zoos have a very important role in giving kids access to these conservation stories. But seeing them in the wild is just so special to me. And if you've followed any of my other Reach the World journeys, they've pretty much all revolved around trying to go and see some wild animals in nature. It's something that I really, really love to do.
What is your next adventure?
Well, I have a flight tonight, actually. I'm heading down tonight to Panama in Central America. It's a very, very short trip, so I'm not doing a Reach the World journey for it, unfortunately. But it's another pretty wildlife-focused trip. I'm going to be going down to an archipelago off the coast, and I'll be scuba diving, and I'll be looking for birds and monkeys, and I think it's just going to be a really fun time.
Great question. How exciting that you're on to your next adventure already.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Ms. Hagenjos, if you have maybe one more student question, we could do that now before we switch over to our friends at 4S. I see you. So we'll come to you next.
Okay, here's the comments.
Okay.
No, ask something.
How much can a person be fined for killing a tiger or a snow leopard?
I don't know the exact answer to that, but I'm pretty sure it's at least 5 to 10 years in prison. It's a very, very big punishment now. And that's just because it has to be in order to keep people from poaching. Generally speaking, I think if there is like a retaliatory kill, like if a tiger were to kill some livestock, there'd be a little bit more understanding there, and the government would do its best to kind of work with those people to prevent that in the future. But for people that just go and kill a tiger on purpose, it's several years in prison.
All right, excellent question. Thank you, Ms. Hagenjos. Students, we'll come back to you in just a minute if you have some more questions. For my friends at Stony Lane, if your camera is working, flip it on for me and I'll see you and we'll come to you next. But I'm going to bring up our friends at 4S. Hello. How are things today? It's nice to see you all. Do you have a question or two that you'd like to ask our Explorer Colin? We just need to unmute you. Let's see if I can do that. Maybe you'll have to do it yourself. Oh, it actually says your mic is not connected. Oh, there we go. I think. Nope, not yet. Sorry. We can definitely see you. We can't hear you. Play around with it a little bit. We'll go to our friend. Oh,
There we go.
There we go.
You can hear us?
Just in time. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Alrighty. Go ahead, Miles.
If you like seeing birds and protecting nature so much, why don't you just become a mahout?
So actually, there's a really important aspect of conservation, which is that we have to follow the will of the people that live in the areas affected by wildlife. I live in Denver, Colorado. I don't live in India. It would be wrong of me to go to India and take a job as a mahout when that job could very easily be done by somebody who lives in that local community, who knows the forest, who knows the tigers. I can support them in the work that I'm doing by fundraising for projects that work in conservation in those areas. But the people who do that work on the ground need to be the people that are in that area that are affected by the wildlife. It just helps to make sure that we have their buy-in and that we have a way forward without forcing it on somebody else.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Hello. How did you find the temple buried in the jungle?
Yeah, so it's known about. Luckily, there are some really strong records in this area of what the history is like. So even though the village on the mountaintop that's carved into the sandstone is abandoned, people have known that it was there the whole time. So it's overgrown with forest, it's completely green, but they know where it is. There's a road that goes right up there.
Thank you.
We have two more.
Do snow leopards and tigers have anything in common?
They have a lot in common. So first of all, they're both cats. So their overall behaviors, the way that they hunt, they're all the same. They are mammals. The only real differences are their size and where they live. So snow leopards live up in the mountains. They weigh about 100 pounds, 150 pounds. Tigers live in the jungles. They can weigh up to 500, 600 pounds. So they're humongous. But they're both cats, just like any house cat that you've seen.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
Hi, this is actually not my question, so
I'll answer it regardless.
do safari cars run on electricity?
No, so they do run on gas, but making electric vehicles in India is a big initiative over there. So when you're in the cities, you'll see that the buses are electric now. There's a ton of electric tricycles that they drive. But the safari cars, because they need to be a little bit more reliable and have to be less heavy so that they can drive through mud and all of that, are still gas powered. But I think there's probably efforts to make them electric, maybe in the next couple of years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful questions. Thank you so much for us. All right, Stony Lane, you've been so patient. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. We can see you very well. You just have to unmute yourself when you're ready to go.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm glad that our camera started again because it stopped for a while. Okay, Leo, I'll tell you what. We have one here. A question about your trip.
So was it really worth seeing the tigers? Cause you were looking for a long time, and then you only saw it for a few minutes. Like you said, you were looking for a week and you only saw it for 5 minutes. So was it worth the trip? And our camera went off.
Oh, and our camera went off. But can you still hear us?
That's okay. Yeah, we can hear you,
really
and
well.
I've got the question. Yeah, it was still worth the trip. If you think about it like a marathon, it's not the finishing the marathon that's important. It's the running the marathon and the whole time that you spend there. So even though seeing the tiger was the capstone on the trip and certainly made it special, just being in the area and feeling the magic of the forest and the excitement of hearing the alarm calls and driving as fast as we could to try to find them was still just as important. And so even if I hadn't seen a tiger, I would have been a little disappointed, but the trip still would have been worth it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. We have written you some letters that to kind of say thank you. And so I have a couple of students who are just going to read their letters to you, and then we're going to mail them to you. And you'll get them in hard copy, maybe when you get back from your trip. So Ariel, come, you can read it because we can't see you. Come. I've got Ria, come, Rebecca. Sorry, just give us 1 second. And Leah. Leah, why don't we start with you? You're right here. Nice and loud, please.
Dear Colin, you did.
Can you hear?
I can, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Dear Colin, you did hard work. You look for a lot of snow leopards. You are the best. We all love you so much. You mean to us a lot, so much. We all keep thinking about you.
All right.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Dear Colin, thank you for bringing us along on your journey to India to see snow leopards. I liked learning all those facts about snow leopards. It was really fun meeting you.
It was so great to talk to all of you. Thank you.
All right, one more. Come.
Dear Colin, thank you. Dear Colin, thank you for taking us on a journey to see snow leopards. I love that.
I'm glad you had a good time.
All right, that's all we have for you for today. But thank you again for everything.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Tony Lane. Those were such sweet messages for Colin. We have just a few minutes left today, and I want to get to a couple more questions. We've got one or two classrooms had to go for other things. I'll loop back around to our classrooms that are still here. I see you 4S, Ms. Hawkinjos. We can maybe get a couple more questions if you have them. But Colin, I wanted to first ask you, your last Reach the World article, your journal reflection on how this whole experience impacted you was all about slow travel, which honestly I didn't expect to hear from you. And I think it's a really great article. I mentioned it in my introduction, but I want to hear just a little bit more about why going slow and sometimes not seeing what you're looking for can be a positive experience. You touched on it a little bit, and everyone should go and read Colin's final article. The link is in the chat. But can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Yeah, and I think this goes beyond wildlife tourism. I think this is for every trip, and frankly, something that's important for daily life as well. That, like I said, it's not finishing the marathon, it's running the marathon. And there are special moments in every single day that you don't notice if you're so focused on any one thing. If I was only focused on trying to see the tiger, trying to see the snow leopard, it would have been a boring trip. I would have been constantly checking my watch, being like, where's this animal? But instead, by slowing down and appreciating the things that I was seeing, even if they weren't a big cat, it just made everything feel a little bit more special. And I was able to get more in touch with my senses and what I was smelling and seeing and hearing. And the way that the light dappled through the leaves, like I said, and the way that the red rocks in the mountains looked with snow on them, and what life was like there. And I just felt so much more connected to the area rather than trying to rush through for a goal.
Well, thank you for sharing that perspective. I thought, again, the article's great. Everybody go and read it, please. We have a couple, we're like in our last couple minutes, but this is really our last chance to talk on this topic. So I see some friends at 4S who are like frantically waving to me so that we don't miss their last chance to ask some questions. I'm going to bring them back. And I see a young lady who looks ready to go. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
What was your favorite place to go into India?
My favorite place had to be the snow leopard area. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm going to change that answer. Seeing the snow leopards was so special, but the landscape of Madhya Pradesh, that deep, dark jungle, like I was saying, it really was magical. If you've seen the Jungle Book, it's just so accurate.
Thank you.
Mm.
Why did you go to India instead of somewhere else like Nepal or Pakistan?
Yeah, so there are a lot of political reasons that travel to other areas is not super easy. One thing is that snow leopard conservation is just very well done in India, where other countries might have some lesser protections. And with those lesser protections come more difficulty in finding them. So there are snow leopards in 12 different countries: Nepal, Pakistan, China, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Tajikistan, all sorts of countries. But India was the right combination of ease of travel, a guarantee of seeing the snow leopards, that made it make the most sense.
All right, go ahead, Remy.
What type of snow leopard or tiger did you see?
So I was looking at the Burmese tiger, which is the primary tiger that lives in India. But you're right that there are a bunch of different kinds of tigers. The Sumatran tiger lives in Indonesia. The Siberian tiger lives in Russia. But the Burmese tiger in India is actually the largest tiger. So that's what I went to go see.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got one more, our last one.
I know you only saw the tiger for 5 minutes, but I saw in one of the pictures, the background had deer in it that looked like they were running away. Did you see the tiger hunting anything at all?
No, so the tiger was not hungry when I was there. We did see it walking through, and the deer certainly thought they were going to be eaten. But the tiger was more focused on protecting its territory. So rather than chasing deer, it was walking around, making sure that its tree was marked, making sure that it was smelling for any other tigers that had been through the area. It was just a totally different behavior. It wasn't hunting or hungry.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for us. All right. Well, it's just about the end of the time we have together today. What a great conversation. I love talking about tigers with you all and hearing Colin's experiences. I'm really kind of sad that we're getting to the end of this journey, that this is our last stop. Again, Colin has produced a wonderful, reflective final article that I encourage you all to check out. And as always, time really flies when we're having fun, and time has seemed to go fast with this one. I know if you're feeling that way, I feel the same way. Even though I'm not quite ready for this expedition to be over, we all have to move on. So it's nice to say goodbye and thank you to Colin. Many of you have done that already. And thank you to our friends at Stony Lane for the really sweet messages, the letters to Colin. This has been quite the adventure. Students and educators, thank you for joining Reach the World for this virtual exchange program. I look forward to seeing you on an upcoming live stream somewhere else around the world in the near future. We're not going to be able to travel to Panama next week with Colin, unfortunately, but we will do our best to get him back for another adventure in the near future. So have a great rest of the week, everyone. Keep exploring, and goodbye for now. Thank you so much, Colin.
Thank you so much. Have a good